Now we need to make sure that the hole is big enough, wide enough, so we can plant the plant in the hole. So we're gonna take the sedum out of its pot and we are gonna just measure it. Hey everybody, Sean and Allison here from Spoken Garden. Today, we're gonna plant our sedum plants, which are perennials, and fall is a great time to get them in the ground. So
yeah, this is an autumn joy sedum and it's beautiful, and we'll show you in just a sec. But before we get into all that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on every daily video we post. So today we're planting this sedum, and we've officially declared this planting week around here because we have perennials to get in the ground, we have tons of bulbs to plant, and we want to film that process for you. So stick around to the end because we have a great bulb planting guide. We want to share that with you because a lot of you have been asking us about bulbs.
So we're out here in the backyard and here are our sedum plants. These are the two that we got from a great family friend of ours, and she actually dug these out earlier this spring, divided them already, put them in these pots and gave them to us. So now we're going to take at least one of these and put it in the ground in this area.
Isn't the color beautiful, you guys? We love how sedums progress in color through the season. That is such a cool quality.
Yep, they're getting close to being done out here, so hopefully they'll hang on for a few more weeks. So I think what we should do is plant this one in this area. This one's a little bit smaller. It's got a little bit more sweeping action of growth going on right here. This one's more upright. It's got a lot more stems. It looks like it could be actually a bigger crown where all the stems are coming off of. So I would say let's plant this one in this area.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. Let's just plop that one right in the ground.
Okay, great. So what we need to do is make sure that we're getting enough room in this area. And it looks like right around here is going to be our best bet. It's going to have good spacing away from our blanket flower, from our grass, and then from the Gerbera daisy. So first things first, we need to move the mulch away from this area we're going to be digging the hole. It's a little bit thicker than we thought here, just because we added some new mulch earlier this spring that we got. So no, it's not as thick as I thought it was going to be. Look at that. We're already down to the dirt. Okay. This past spring, we actually put some new mulch in here and we like mounded it up. I mean, it was like up to here. And now in October, that must have been back in June, I would say. And now it's way down. It's really compacted down over time, which is great because that means it's breaking down. So we're going to keep getting this hole a little bit bigger. So guys, let's back up here and we've got our planting hole location. Now we need to make sure that the hole is big enough, wide enough, so we can plant the plant in the hole. So we're going to take the sedum out of its pot and we are going to just measure it. Here we go. So here's our sedum. So if you don't know, sedums grow from a crown. And what a crown is it's just this piece of plant tissue that connects the plant stems to the plant roots. And it's kind of this zone. It's just kind of this zone of stem tissue and root tissue coming together. And it physically has this crown or this mound shape. It could be, you could think of it as almost like a disc, where the bottom of a disc, if you lay it flat, the roots come out of that side, and then the top of the disc, the stems come out, and all the growth that you see above ground comes out of the top of the disc. So here is the disc, basically, of this sedum, and it's a little bit below ground, but it's also a little bit above ground, because you can see these stems, you can see some of the old growth there from last year, and then you see this year's growth. So that's a crown of a perennial plant, if you don't know. So let's get this in the hole here, or where our hole's gonna be. And yep, that looks about the right size. Looks like we got some space around here to dig and make sure it's deep enough and wide enough. So the thing is, when you're planting a plant like this, or any plant with its crown established, and you've got that soil level right there where it's actually used to growing out of the soil at that certain point, when you dig your hole, you don't want to dig your hole so this point of this crown is deeper or higher than this level right here. So the finishing product, when you finish actually planting your crown of your plant, you want to make sure that that crown is the same level in its new planting spot that it grew out of before. So we're going to make sure that this level of this soil matches up with this level of soil outside of the hole, and that should be the best height to plant this plant.
Be careful of got a line right there.
I know, I saw that. I know, it's easy just to not see it and just bam. So we're gonna make sure we're not we don't hit that and sever that. That's our soaker hose line. So when you're planting a planting hole, make sure that you've got that depth like I explained to you, but also make sure that you dig it wide enough so you're actually digging the hole twice as wide as it actually is going down. And the reason for that is you want to make sure that when the plant starts growing its roots out, its new roots out into its new planting hole, that it has an easier time to get those roots into the new soil that it's planted in. If you don't make it wider than the actual root ball is, it'll still grow those roots out, but those roots are going to have a harder time penetrating that new soil that it's growing into. This way, you're really helping it out to get it established faster. So we've got our hole here. Let's try this again and see what our depth's like. Oh yeah, yep, that's looking pretty darn good right there. Okay, and actually what we're gonna do is bring it around, because these stems are actually, they were growing towards the sun before, so that's why they're growing a little bit at an angle from how this is situated. So we want to actually copy that, because otherwise if we planted it like this isn't going to work. This part of the crown is too high outside of the ground, and this part of the crown behind it is just too low. So we'll plant it just right and we'll call it good. Okay, so another hack, besides making the hole a little bit wider, twice as wide as it is deep, or a little wider than its actual circumference, is take that hole, in the middle of that hole, put a little mound in there. The reason you want to do this is because it lessens the chance for air pockets to develop underneath the soil around those roots. You don't want to have the air pockets because you don't fill up with water. It can be a great place for critters to nest. So you just want to make sure not to do that. So that's why we do our little mound in the middle of the planting hole. Okay, so now you can see I put a little too much soil up there on the crown, so let's get that off of there. We don't want to bury the crown. Now we're just going to work the soil around, make sure it's down in there really well. And then number 3 plant hack, this is something we always do, is we put a little berm around each one of our newly planted plants. So 1, it delineates where we actually put the plant, and 2, it actually helps hold water and collect water in this general area around the root system. So there's more water in that area. It actually collects more water to make available to the roots. So it helps with establishment, which is always a good thing. Now, normally we would water this in after we planted it, but we're gonna get a lot of rain here in about another day or 2, so we're just gonna leave this alone. The soil was already wet, so it's got plenty of moisture down in there. So we're pretty much done.
So we're loving the placement of this. It looks really good in its new home. It's gonna establish itself and be even bigger next season.
Yep, it'll really like it right here. We already have another sedum just a little ways away from it, and it loves it right here. It's nice and healthy.
And sedums need full sun, but they can tolerate some partial sun. They technically are a succulent and they're drought tolerant. But since this is a brand new planting, we don't want to treat this as a drought tolerant plant. It's going to need water. It's going to need to establish itself.
Yep, at least for the first year. So guys, it's fall. We're planting plants, obviously. You just watched us do that. So also you can plant bulbs in the fall. They're spring flowering bulbs, and we just created a new digital guide of how to plant 7 popular bulbs in the fall, and it's actually called 7 popular bulbs to plant in the fall, and it's great. It's got all the information you need to get those bulbs in the ground in the correct orientation, and also how to actually get them down, how far to actually get them down in the soil.
Yeah, we're going to teach you our 3-step system for bulb success so that you get them planted correctly the first time. So hit that link in the description down below to check that out. And when you purchase that guide, you'll also get our free digital guide for what perennials to plant this fall. There are a lot of plants that you can still get in the ground right now.
Oh yeah, a lot. So if you have any other questions about how to plant sedums or other perennials this fall, go ahead and leave your comments and questions down below for us. We love hearing from you. Give us that thumbs up, let us know we're doing a good job, and subscribe to our channel so you get updates on our latest videos.
Yep, that's a wrap. We'll be back tomorrow with another planting project, so we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day ahead.
See you tomorrow, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.